Oh boy, are we gonna have fun today. And we're gonna create some pumpkin heads that are gonna go on a piece of decor for on the wall. And it's gonna be, it just is reminiscent to me of those vintage Halloween decorations that I used to collect. JR and I would look for those too, the paper mache baskets and candy baskets, and oh my gosh, I couldn't get enough of that stuff. Started with a foam pumpkin, cut it right in half. This is about 8 inches, 9 inches-ish. But again, all of this is going to depend on what you use for your project. And I'm just going to pop the stem out of the top of it. With a saw, I cut my pumpkin in half. Now what I want to do is I want to create this a sweet little face. I don't want to just paint over top of this. I want to give this some dimension. So this was the top from one of those like Tim Holtz tissue paper things. This is the top to a pill bottle. It depends on what size you're making. These are a little bit smaller, right? These are a little bit bigger. I'm just screwing this down into my foam, and you can see it almost cuts right through. Use an X-Acto knife and trim out that piece. These are styrofoam and they're covered in a layer of plastic. Pulled some of that styrofoam out so that I have a little dip in there. Peel away, maybe go down about, I don't know, maybe 1/4 of an inch. Probably, you know, you could use a paring knife, you could use any kind of a sharper blade to pull some of that styrofoam out of there. I've created a recessed area inside the eye and the mouth. This is modeling paste. I have just a tongue depressor. And then I also have a smaller popsicle stick. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this modeling paste inside that recessed area. The object of the modeling paste is to create a flat surface inside that eye and mouth that I can paint later.
Then dampen your finger and smooth out the surface of the modeling clay and let it dry completely. I'll be using Iron Orchid Designs air dry clay to create the other details on the pumpkin faces. I roll the air dry clay into a long thin tube in order to make a little raised area around the mouth. And then I glue that little tube shape in place.
So just take a ball and let's flatten them out, make little pancake cheeks, and then I want to make a little dome, kind of a dome shape.
I have mixed up some white paint with a little bit of texturing powder and added that over the entire surface of the pumpkin.
This was all on the door, and there would have been a pull here, okay? And so I'm gonna glue him right here. You could also use, if you don't have the good fortune to have a piece like this, use acanthus. Acanthus mold could give you kind of the same effect. And I used resin to create my letters for the Harper Mould, and then we painted them with orange paint. I would suggest either Debi's DIY Firestarter. There's the Fusion Tuscan Orange. Either one of them are great on me, okay? So these are resin and I painted them. The reason that I did not use air dry clay for the letters that I'm going to paint is they're so delicate that when you put paint on them, it can soak up that moisture and make them a little bit crumbly. This board, again, it's the same door. These I use the Victoria mold. These I did with air dry clay and glued them in place. I'm not going to paint these, but once these were dry and glued in place, I coated this whole thing, including these air dry clay letters, with my liquid patina to seal them in place and protect these air dry clay letters. I'm going to keep them white. And then this is the Laurel mold. It was already on here and I just painted over it. So I repurposed a piece that I had done previously. Then what I did, this is a little oval, wood oval. You could also use a wood tag. You could use one of the frames molds, okay? And then we did a little 31 in orange and we'll glue that on. This is Fusion Ash.
Stencil this diamond pattern over the background of the board around the outside edge of the Laurel mold. I use 2 different size brushes so that I can get up to the edge of the Laurel mold without too much difficulty. I'm going to use the same dark charcoal color to paint the interior portion of the board that's inside that Laurel mold. I'm using just a few basic colors to paint the faces: orange, black, white, and maybe a touch of mustard.
Okay, I'm going to show you a very basic decorative painting technique called floating. It works the best with an angled brush. So I dipped it in water and then I just dipped the corner of it into, just the corner of it into my paint. Can you see that? Without flipping my brush, I want to just blend that paint out so it blends with the water. You want it to be a blend from paint to water, and that is called a float. Then you take that where the paint is and you lay that in the place where you want the darkest shadow. Little shading around his nose. But I can come back in with a damp brush and I can kind of blend that out. See that? Mm-hmm. It's like every one that you make, depending on how far away you put the eyes. There's just, every one of them just takes on a different personality. Let's mix a little bit of orange into the white. I want a very pale, fleshy color. I don't want it too brightly orange. Let's just paint around his little lips. We can give him a little orange nose.
Finally, I've added a very, very light wash of orange in a few spots around my pumpkin head and then blotted it away so that I have a very transparent, faded orange wash as a bit of shadowing.
This is a real pumpkin stem that I glued on the top. Kind of streak a little bit of black on the stem.
For this pumpkin face, I painted the entire surface with a mix of orange paint and a texturizing medium.
This is Dark and Decrepit Liquid Patina.
I'm using the same floating technique that I used earlier. This time I'm using Debi's DIY Dark and Decrepit Liquid Patina and water, and then gently blotting away the excess.
Want to show you what it's, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I have some white wax. I just want this to have a little bit more of a ghosty look to it.
In the IOD Horse and Hound mold, there's a very sweet little pair of oak leaves. I painted them orange and popped them right on the top of our little ghost pumpkin head. I painted a little oval wood tag with black. I cast the number 31 from the Harper Mould and then glued those in place after I had painted them orange.
Mom, you can sing it since I have the cold.
If you want your things to quickly stick, tight bond, quick and thick. All right. Oh, you guys. Okay, so this is going to be fun. I made, I didn't have any polka dot paper, so I did have some black craft paper here. I'm going to make a little paper cone hat for him. Okay. I'm going to just trim the top of that off straight because you'll see why in a minute.
Just gonna do something even more cute. I know it. I know what you're gonna do. It's like absurdly cute, Mom.
Is it?
Yes.
I hunted around for some little beaded trim and little vintage gold garland and just embellished my pumpkin. Glue the little hat in place and then paint the Laurel Mould with Debi's DIY Golden Ticket, the perfectly vintage gold patina. I cast a cute little bow from the IOD Jingle mold. I painted it and then glued that under the pumpkin's chin. I I gave the whole board an antique finish with Debi's DIY Dark and Decrepit liquid patina, and then blotted off the excess.
Happened to find a little orange pom-pom to the top of his hat. Okay, there he is. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna add a little bit of my gold braid. When this dries, I'm gonna outline this with a little bit of gold braid, the 31. And I will be painting in his mouth. I really wanna make sure that this is completely cured and set. Then I'm probably just gonna do a very simple line across here.
I created a third pumpkin. Let me show you how I finished off the details for this little guy. To make the orange glazed effect, I mixed some Debi's DIY liquid patina with my orange paint and even a little bit of Debi's DIY making powder in Orange You Glad. I brushed that over the entire surface of the pumpkin, just in the white areas, and then gently blotted it away to give him a soft orange glow. Glue the letters and the pumpkin head and the stem all in place. And then give your piece a spattering with your leftover paint. I made a big black and white check bow with some frayed ends and glued that under his chin. And for the finishing touch, I tied on a little bit of hemp cord and then threaded some little vintage Halloween tags that I found from Tim Holtz. There you go. Isn't this cute? What a great way to get your spooky on. Just use your imagination and lots of IOD air dry clay and IOD molds. All of the products that we used are linked in the description box below. Don't forget to give us a follow on lnjgoods.com or visit us at our brick and mortar store in Medina, New York. We'd love it if you'd go ahead and hit that subscribe button, give us a comment, like our post, and we'll see you next time for some more fun creations.
Quick and thick, available at L&J Goods.
Sorry, I have a cold. Usually my voice is much